race fans, and welcome to another edition of the US IndyCar League's ongoing saga for Season 11. It is round 10 of 12 here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. It's August 8th, 2021. So glad to have you with us here today as we get set for 126 awesome laps of action here at the Night Oval in Las Vegas. And you can see there on your screen, it's a 1.5 miler classic circuit for NASCAR, and over the years been used, of course, by IndyCar with progressive banking. So a lot of great room for some different maneuvers and lines that you can take during the race. And as we get set to go here, just waiting for everything to kind of switch over and get into qualifying. We'll be switching over. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about today. But as I mentioned, one of the things to talk about is I'm in the booth. Trevor Greenfield, I've been here all season long, and sometimes have had Matt Kingsbury, legendary IndyCar iRacing driver, with us, and also NASCAR champion with us. But today, he will be an embedded reporter in the field. How cool is that? And when I mean embedded embedded, I mean a reporter. I mean he is going to actually be racing today, which is like as exciting as it gets. So, as we get set to go here, in fact, we're on board with Matt Kingsbury as he heads out. He's one of the first ones out onto the track to get ready for qual. And you can see how cool that that Matt is actually running the VirtualRacing.Network livery, which we so appreciate. Give me a little bit of extra coverage there. We wait for Matt to make his way around the circuit, and we'll see what he can turn in. And Matt's first lap as he gets up onto the board. Good enough for first so far of the only drivers, 25:36. Mike West now putting in a time. (25:24). Graham Bunyan, Mike West's teammate, just behind with a 25:35. Now time's definitely starting to come in. We're on board with Matt, and he takes the pole, 24:81. So now Mike West crashes. I don't know, that looks like it was just after his second lap. We're on board here with Danny Alt, who is in fourth, and Graham Bunyan has now taken the pole, 24:81, same as Matt Kingsbury. So a difference of just thousandths of a second separating Kingsbury and Bunyan at the top. Howard Livingston now moving into that third spot. And so that's how quickly it goes. Now we've got Richard Kelbaugh out on track. Like almost everybody has qualified thus far. That's Richard Kelbaugh's second. Actually, he's just completing his second lap now. And also, we have David Strid on track. So, Mr. StickQuik, so glad to have Richard back with us racing. And he qualifies sixth. So, ahead so far, actually ahead of Jason Lowe, your series defending points champion. And frequent top runner, but Lowe will start from further back. And as David Strid is now on his cool down lap with a 24:80, just fast enough, 1/100th of a second faster than Graham Bunyan. Put the best times up there on the screen so you could take a look at it, but just faster than his countryman Graham Bunyan. David Strid, like I said, the supplier of the setup for today's race. Now, take a look at Dan Ench, who is right up there in the points. and fighting right now in third for second place in the points. So he's looking to get a good qualifying effort. Was speaking with Dan ahead of today's race. We'll get a chance to talk about that in a moment. So qualifying not super important here. It's maybe a little important just because you don't want to be at the very back necessarily. But for somebody like Dan, who's probably going to be fuel saving anyway, it doesn't really make that big of a difference. You can fuel save from anywhere in the pack. So Dan right now 9th thus far. And waiting to see what Dan can do on the second lap. Meanwhile, we saw Inigo Mardones come out and do a couple of laps. Good enough to make the field in 12th. And there, Dan moves up into 4th. So, he will be starting right alongside of his teammate. Actually, I don't know whether to call him his teammate or not. We're all sort of loosely still affiliated. Once a full-time teammate, now I guess a part-time teammate. Either way, still good friends. Dan Ench, Matt Kingsbury starting alongside of each other. And we'll take a look at the starting grid here for today's race. So we actually, no surprise here, except that it is David Strid ahead of Graham Bunyan. Not really the other way around. We've been seeing a lot of Graham Bunyan poles, but this is the first pole position for David Strid. And so awesome stuff from him. We'll be starting in first place, right up there at the front. Nice clean view of the pace car and able to do whatever you want heading to the green flag, starting right alongside of Graham Bunyan. First time we haven't seen him on the pole in a little while. Matt Kingsbury starting third for VirtualRacing.Network. So glad to have him out there. Going to be able to get a chance to talk to him here in a second. And then Dan Ench starting 4th, Howard Livingston 5th, Rick Levison there in 6th, Jeff Murray in 7th, Rick Kelbaugh in 8th, Jason Lowe starting 9th. He's going to have to work his way from the back there. Mike West 10th, Danny Alt going to be starting 11th today, and Inigo Mardones 12th, and Manuel Gomez Esteban will be 13th. A new driver to the field, MPC Van Tongeren, also going to be joining us, I believe. And in the meantime, we're going to get a chance to talk with Matt Kingsbury here in just a second. So we wait for... And there we go. So, Matt Kingsbury, this is Trevor up here in the booth. Can you hear me, bud?
Yeah, I got you, Trevor.
All right. Well, they got you all strapped in tight to the VirtualRacing.Network Dallara IR18 in cooperation with Dirt Esports, your team. Hey, congratulations, 3rd place. You're right up there at the front, right behind Bunyan and alongside of Dan Ench. What are you looking for today?
Yeah, I'm really happy with the qualifying effort. Puts us right where I want to be. It's definitely going to be a tough race. It's cold, the track, lots of grip. We don't have to worry about tire fall off too much. I think the fuel number is easy to hit, so any fuel strategy that we're going to be running today is just going to be to try and over or undercut and just see if we can get a better pit stop, really. I think this is the hardest pit lane I've experienced in a long time, both in and out, so lots of time to be gained, but also, if you spin, you're going to wreck it. So I think that's our key highlight right there is just pitting.
Just pitting and staying clean and safe, and we want to see that VirtualRacing.Network logo all race long. We'll get a chance to talk to you during the yellows. Good luck today, Matt, and give Graham a run for his money, okay?
Oh, I'm going to.
That's Matt Kingsbury, sometimes commentator here on VirtualRacing.Network, and always kick butt IndyCar driver, trying to do some business out there on the track and maybe give Graham Bunyan a little taste of his own medicine. In the meantime, David Strid has actually done that because he's taken the pole, and we're going to go silent for this first lap in honor of the Lionheart himself, who passed away at this track, Dan Weldon. So as David Strid leads us to the green flag, please enjoy the silence of one lap. And, of course, we thank you for joining us in that silent lap for Dan Weldon. And we start this race out basically the way it began, with David Strid in first, Graham Bunyan in second, and Matt Kingsbury in third, Dan Ench in fourth, Howard Livingston in fifth. And then you jump back to Jeff Murray, who's gained a spot, and that's just because Rick Levison there dropping back one spot. As well, Jason Lowe up a spot so far, making his way by Kelbaugh, who's now dropped back a little bit, and also Danny Alt. You can see here on screen, we didn't get a chance to see him, I don't think, in any of our previous races thus far. Thought we might get a chance, but we hadn't, and so now it's great to have him joining us in the race. Got Mike West in the field, previous race winner, and always running near the front if he doesn't experience some sort of issue. Inigo Mardona's back in the field today. Great to have him, one of our two Spanish drivers with us. And Inigo Mardona's and Manuel Gomez Esteban, both drivers that can make their way to the front. So it's just a matter of time. You got to watch them because they will end up right there towards the front. And now a new driver, MPC Van Tongeren. Great to have you joining us, MPC, and I hope this race works out for you. In the meantime, as you can see, we've got 14 cars in a pack, and that may be the way that we're going to be racing a lot of this race. Take a look back, and it's our embedded reporter, Matt A. Kingsbury, already giving Graham Bunyan a mirrors full back there. We've got Dan Ench still in fourth. There you see Jeff Murray kind of pulling out a little bit with Jason Lowe on the high side. And Lowe staying on that high side, getting it done. They're staying to the high side of Howard Livingston as well, showing his nose, probably trying to pinch Livingston down. Now, one of the things that I heard ahead of time, as we watched Jason Lowe try to navigate this field from a rear of the field, is that the sixth gear of this setup, as I mentioned, was supplied by David Strid, and this setup possibly a little long in sixth gear, which is when you're in a draft. When you're by yourself, you typically are going to be using fifth gear in these Indy cars, but when you are in a draft and the speed of the pack is much higher, then you'll be using sixth gear. From what I understand, the sixth gear is a bit longer. Could be a couple of clicks or at least one click shorter, and as a result of that, you've really got to plan out your moves. As we see Jason Lowe creeping around the outside of Matt Kingsbury. Jason Lowe making his way to the front in a hurry, picking off cars one by one. Question as to how much fuel saving Jason is doing, and I guess we might as well start talking about fuel saving. It's a reality in the IndyCar pretty much every single race, and for this race, it's no different. All of these drivers are going to have to fuel save a certain amount to be able to make it on just two stops. We're hearing about 40-some laps is about how many you can shake out. So for those aggressively fuel saving, that might actually, you might be able to do some extra strategy with that and maybe light fuel the car later on, or take no tires at the very end. There's lots of different opportunities to maybe save some time and get one up over your competitors. So these drivers, especially somebody like Dan Ench, who is just always fuel saving, always trying to take advantage of that, they're going to be in different fuel maps using their in-car adjustments. So normally you can see that as we see Jason Lowe now making his approach on the back of Graham Bunyan as we go through turn 4 here in Las Vegas. We're already starting lap 13, so we're 10% of the way through this race. It's just flying by so far. No cautions, and that's what this league is known for. Caution-free many, many times out, and when it's not caution-free, it's just a couple of cautions, and so this is not quite like running an Indy fixed race at maybe 10 o'clock at night out here on the West Coast like I sometimes like to do. And you end up doing more caution laps than green flag laps. Instead, you have some real chance at some strategy here in this league because they do stay green for a long, long time. And so Jason Lowe making his way to the front. And again, the question is, did he have to burn some extra fuel? That is a question we don't have the answer to because they don't tell us and we don't get that information. We do have ways of seeing what fuel map they are in, but we don't show that, and we don't try to explore that just to keep their strategy a little safe. But suffice to know, the secret of using the fuel map to gain, to get some extra fuel mileage is not a shock to anybody out there. If you don't know that you can do that by now, you definitely can. So just making light of it. But these drivers all embroiled in a battle here. I mean, this is, again, it may look easy, it may look like they're single file, but I promise you, every single moment, these drivers just separated by, you know, less than like half a second through first and fourth. I mean, you cannot make a wrong move. If you get out of line and scrape the wall, your day could be done. It may be too much damage. I'm being completely honest about that. A 0x contact may be too much damage. Sometimes bending the wheel, the driving ability of the car and getting wheel damage, as they say, and that means you can't even steer it. So just even a light tap of the wall, letting it go out a little too far on exit, or if you're trying to make a pass or you're being held on the outside and your car doesn't want to hang there, well, your day could be over in a hurry. So these drivers not only having to deal with all of this action directly in front of them, as we see Jason Lowe maybe taking a little peek at Graham Bunyan. You see some more action happening a little bit further back. But anyway, these drivers not only having to deal with the action in front of them and making sure that they're not crashing the car, they're not getting too close to others, they're passing safely, etc. But you also have to deal with your overall strategy of the race. What lap am I going to come in on? How is my fuel strategy working out? All tough questions to answer, but it's why you have to be very adaptive in racing these cars. And you also have to be very aware of multiple different factors happening at the same time. Where are the lap cars? Where is the leader? How do I pit when I come into the pit? If I'm going to be pitting in another lap or two, how do I signal that? How do I tell people? So all of these things, I mean, all of these racers are extremely experienced. I mean, for example, David Strid, 3,600 oval I rating. Graham Bunyan, 5,900 oval I rating. Jason Lowe, 3,000. Matt Kingsbury, over 3,000. Upwards of 4,000. Dan Ench, 3,000. I mean, I just go down the list. This group is very skilled, top to bottom. And while some drivers may not have the overall I rating the same as everyone else, or at the top of the field, this is as you can see, a clean group, a talented group, and they're all hanging together here on lap 23. And you can tell that I'm trying to fill a little bit of extra time here because there really isn't much movement on the track. So we do see Danny Alt maybe having an issue here, sliding back. Keep an eye on that. Great to have Danny actually joining us this week for the race. Sticking right in there. Danny, see, and now Danny is actually one of the lowest I rating oval drivers in the field. I don't know what Danny's road course rating is, but again, iRating is just an indicator of experience, to be quite honest. As we see Mike West in front. So the point being that iRating is not the end-all as far as the quality or the capabilities of that driver. If you can show up in one of these races, as we saw Alex Simkowski do earlier this season, you know, you can just show up. He was racing Forza earlier in 2021, and for those of you that are serious sim racers, you know how different Forza is to iRacing, for example, or ice racing, as they used to call it, etc. It used to be very difficult comparatively, and many arcade drivers used to complain about it. But if you're serious about it and you're quite skilled, you could jump into one of these races too. Just come on over to iRacing.com. If you're not already a member, you can definitely join and get some laps in and get up to speed and figure out how it all works. But beyond that, you can get out there once you're ready and join the US IndyCar League. Just look up US IndyCar League and give Jason Lowe a shout. We wait for this one to kind of break open a little bit. See, this first stint is always going to be kind of like this in a fuel-safe pack race, where you're going to get maybe some people coming forward, kind of choosing to run at the front or towards the back, depending on where they feel it might be safest for them to run. But otherwise, what you're going to end up with is essentially all the cars running in a row, trying not to scrub off too much of their tires, trying not to burn too much fuel. And as a result, we kind of wait for this to break open with the first round of pit stops and or the first caution, which will change the overall fuel strategy picture. So right now, as it stands, as we can see further in the back, not Danny Alt, but looks like the Kelbaugh possibly. Coming forward there. And we're on Rick Levison. Rick's had an interesting run this season, and frequently towards the front, but not quite finding the front, not finding that podium position. But I know the Chicago driver, as he's getting passed at the moment by Inigo Mardones, I know that each and every week he is in position and ready to be able to run up front. And it's just these other guys are so good at working their adjustments that he rarely gets a chance to have an opportunity at the front. And so at some point, Rick is probably going to be looking at changing where he wants to run in the pack, and instead of hanging on to the mid pack, probably wants to find a way to get up there and run with the front runners. And so possibly he can beg, borrow, steal some secrets from Graham Bunyan. But as we see right here, Inigo Mardones on track and on camera, now making his way through the field. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. Is Rick may be in fuel map 5 just coasting in the back right now, but that's a strategy decision. As you see Inigo Mardones kind of moving forward, his strategy was probably to save fuel right up front, let the pack do what they're going to do, and then try to make a move. And there you can see him going right around Matt Kingsbury and Jason Lowe right up into third place as we watch Inigo Mardones, the Spaniard driver, on fire. Coming through the field, now making a move into second on Graham Bunyan, your points leader.
Yellow, yellow, yellow.
And we have a yellow. It's Danny Alt, I believe. Yep, it was Danny Alt, and so we'll go back to that. There, he's just getting it loose and comes across the infield, hits the inside wall. I'm not sure. It says, let's see. So Danny, they're just getting it wrong in the tri-oval is actually where that was. That's a tough, that's interesting. We'll go back and look at that one more time, maybe from on board with Danny. and see if we can figure that one out. So Danny goes down and hits that apron. I don't think that's what did it. You know, I'm wondering if Danny maybe hit the wall just before that. Maybe exiting turn 4. No, it does not seem as though. So just kind of a strange incident. Danny's on the inside here. Gets a little arrow push, drifts up a little bit, manages to keep it on the track, still staying in the draft, comes down, hits the tri-oval, then gets back on the gas and just starts this very slow looper. And I'm just wondering if maybe that weight jacker was set a little too high, possibly, and that might have caused a problem. But nevertheless, we have some pit stopping happening right here. If we can get our cameras over, the entire pit lane is filled. Who will get out first? It's David Strid, but ahead of Graham Bunyan, it's Inigo Mardones, who manages to keep that lead right ahead of Graham Bunyan. So Mardones rejoining in second, with Graham Bunyan in third and Jason Lowe in fourth. Matt Kingsbury rejoining in fifth. So we'll go back and see if we can chat with Matt here. As he gets ready to rejoin. Hey, Matt Kingsbury, this is Trevor Greenfield up here in the booth. How's your race going, man?
Good, Ever. I think I just hit the cone and broke my wing, so I'd have to come back down. But, you know, it feels pretty good up here.
Oh, no.
Sitting up front. It's all right. Just make it a little more interesting.
Well, it looks like you got both sides of your front wing still on there, but you would know, so you're going to come back down and do it again, huh?
Yeah.
Well, not much.
Safe, sorry.
Right, and not much to lose here, like you said. So how's the race been going for you? Everything feeling good in the car? Any problems so far?
It was a little weird feeling on the handling. I had changes the anti-roll bar to adjust for that, but other than that, you know, it feels pretty good. We're just sitting there, you know, drafting, making sure we had enough fuel. It's like a one-stop race to the end here, so pretty straightforward what we got to do. We got to just save fuel, try to jump spots in the pit lane on the green flag. So,
indeed. So we'll let you get back to it and recalculate your fuel. Thank you for talking with us, Matt. Good luck. So there you go, Matt Kingsbury retaking back to the track after possibly knocking off that cone. Let's back it up. Let's see if we can find that where Matt exited. Actually, we don't have to go back that far. We can go back a different way. Let's see here. Nope, that was the wrong time that we... Hard to find the exact note. I'm sure we can. Matt Kingsbury leaving pit lane. So now watch carefully. He says he clipped the cone exiting, possibly. But I'm not seeing it. It's possible he hit it on pit in, and maybe that's where it took place. Let's see if I can go... Let's watch pitting in. Oh, it might have been a little too late again. So we'll back it up and see if we can tell when and where that happened on. And this, as I was mentioning before, okay, this is a prime point. And again, I don't know where he hit the cone. I can't quite see it. Maybe he hit the earlier cone. But this was what I was saying earlier, in fact. Hitting those cones is a new thing as of the last year, but again, you can hit debris. You can hit those cones on the track, and that can actually damage your car to the point where you have to come back in and fix your car. So Matt having to pit out of the 4th, 5th place, unfortunately for him, it's going to put him back as we get the lights are off on pace car and we get ready to go. It's David Strid who's going to be leading us back to the green flag here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. So glad to have you with us for season 11, round 10. Is this championship for second is getting really, really hot and heavy. We'll take a look at the points here in just a minute. Looks like Strid maybe caught Inigo Mardones sleeping there a little bit, but that won't matter. We'll look a little bit further back. Driver's a little gapped, but as I said, that won't matter with this draft. They will all catch each other. I'm a little concerned with some of these cars a little bit further back, though. For example, Rick Levison, he's 0.7 of a second back, and then Rick Kelbaugh 0.7 of a second back from him. Dan Ench, 0.6 of a second back, and Mike West 0.7 of a second back. So these drivers kind of falling back a little bit, and I hope they can catch back up to that lead pack. In the meantime, we've got a challenge for the lead. It's Inigo Mardones trying to get around David Strid. So 3 of our 5 international drivers in the field, all first, second, and third right now. When I say international, of course, I mean from outside the United States. It's so great to have this international field here competing in the United States IndyCar League, very much like the real-life IndyCar series, as we watch this side-by-side battle happening for first. David Strid and Inigo Mardones. Mardones hanging out on the outside. And yeah, very much like the real-life IndyCar series, when word catches on about how clean this league is and how good the racing is, and the fact that somebody needs to beat this Graham Bunyan, suddenly we start getting some very good competition coming from around the globe, and we greatly appreciate that. So please, anybody out there wants to take a crack at some of these great racers, look up US IndyCar League. Meanwhile, Inigo Mardones tries it again on the outside of David Strid, unable to make it. And this battling on the outside might give a chance for everybody to catch up. I think the main thing is Mardones might want to just lead to get that bonus point. And we see Rick Kelbaugh, and it looks like Matt Kingsbury now battling in that position for 8th place. Kingsbury started up in 3rd, but has slid back due to that incident that he had earlier by clipping the cone, either entering or exiting the pits, and thus needing to hit and, just for safety's sake, make sure that gets a new wing and everything's good to go. So Matt Kingsbury dives on Mr. StickQuik, Rick Kelbaugh, and now moves to the outside. Can get on the right car, moves the outside of Jeff Murray. That's looks like, well, it was 2 cars in the span of a lap, but not exactly 1 lap. And there's 3 cars in the span of 2 laps, working on 4 cars in the span of 2 laps. Matt Kingsbury moving to the front in a hurry. It's possible he got a little extra fuel saving done in the back, or he's just being a little patient. Either way, making his move to the front. And we continue to watch that battle up front. David Strid, Inigo Mardones, Graham Bunyan, Jason Lowe, and Howard Livingston. And Matt Kingsbury has arrived at the party. He's going to look to see if he can find a way around the Care Camps machine of Howard Livingston. It was told to us in post-race interviews by Dan Ench, and I think by Jason Lowe, that Livingston is really good at this track. So I'm sure that is a great explanation for why he's running in 4th, but I tell you what, he's used to it. You can see there, season 10, he finished in 4th in the championship, and quite a few times we've had him just outside the podium, had Howard Livingston on the podium a few times, and so looking to get that Care Camps machine back, possibly not only on the podium, but into winner's circle. Howard's having a good run here, though, in Las Vegas, and currently running in 5th. So Jason Lowe up into 4th, up 5 spots today. He, of course, did not have a great qualifier. Lowe sometimes suffering from the qualify at the back, need to race it to the front, but that's not a problem for him. As we mentioned earlier, Lowe with the type of speed, that type of pace, that it is not an issue to get up to the front. Very, very skilled driver with a lot of real-life racing experience as well. Making the move after some years and suffering some pain in the shoulders, getting some shoulder surgery, not able to go do the real-life racing thing anymore. Besides, it's so darn expensive, as we see Matt Kingsbury and Howard Livingston battling it out just behind. Kingsbury diving to the inside of Livingston. Not able to get it done. So, just a reset for you. We're on lap 53, not quite halfway. We've had one caution thus far. It was for Danny Alt, who I'm not sure. I think Danny is now officially out of the race. And we show that MPC Van Tongeren, it looks like is still on pit road, or possibly has retired from the race. Sorry to take you away there from the action. It's kind of funny how the software works when you click on somebody that isn't a live part of the race. It just sort of drops you off to the scenic camera. And so that's how we know it's either that or they blinked out for a moment and we've lost them. But here we go back at the front. David Strid, the Australian, kind of an occasional racer here in the US IndyCar League, and it's been here a couple of weeks in a row. Appreciate that, David, because you bring a level of talent for sure. One of the only ones that can challenge Mr. Bunyan there for the lead. But I'll tell you who else is challenging for the lead. It's Inigo Mardones, really trying to get it done on the outside. Now, trying to get it done on the outside, we saw Jason Lowe pull off a number of passes on the outside here. But that doesn't mean you can do it to anybody. It does mean that if somebody has their car with the right weight jacker and ARB settings and everything, and they can keep that car pinned to the white line, that driver may or may not be able to do that the entire race. It might burn off the tires a little bit too much, but if they can, that is a very difficult to beat line. It's the fastest way around the track, the shortest way around the track, and even with that progressive banking, it's just not enough to get the run off the corner and be able to make the pass. So you almost have to, if you're somebody like Inigo Mardones, you can keep trying the outside and hope that David Strid eventually starts suffering from right rear burn off, or suffering maybe clips the wall or something along those lines. But if not, might be a little too tough to get it done on the outside. You might have to kind of force Strid to make a mistake. It's probably easier said than done. So we look back and we see Graham Bunyan, frequent pole sitter, but not today. Winner of 7 races in a row. So to say he is the hottest driver in this league would be an understatement. He did not win the first 2 races, but he came back with a vengeance and vowed to never let himself lose another race, and he has held true to that. No, I don't know that that's not it at all. We talked to Graham Bunyan after each one of these races, and he's just Mr. Cool, Calm, and Collected. And honestly, I think he's just surprised that these races all kind of work out in his favor. But Graham is an absolute master of the Oval Fix series for the Indy cars on iRacing, and so it's no surprise. I mean, the reality is, when you're racing, you're always just trying to do yourself the maximum favor that you can to put yourself in a position to win or do well. That's really all you're trying to do. You're just trying to execute and have all the tools in place. You're not necessarily trying to go out there and drive and be the fastest, or are you trying to go out there and win and pass everybody? You're just trying to do everything within your capabilities to be at the top. And that's why I'm saying, I've heard fellow Australian Will Power after IndyCar races where he's won, and he sounds like he's shocked. He's like, he comes in and he's like, oh wow, I won. And I don't think Graham is quite that perplexed, but he's just wondering. It's just a surprise, because all he's doing is putting himself in that position every race, every lap, just trying to put himself in the optimal place that he can win the race. And of course, he has all that experience, and so, you know, he does it to great effect, and many others are still kind of learning this. But nevertheless, that is what puts him in the position to get 7 wins in a row, and that in a fixed league like this, in a fixed setup league, that's unheard of. That's just crazy. It's not like Graham Bunyan is the one who's making these setups, although sometimes it is his teammates or friends of his, but the setup is exactly the same for everyone, and these Dallara IR18 Indy cars are exactly the same way for everyone. Nobody can cheat the system, and yet each and every week it does seem like it's Graham Bunyan who gets the absolute best of everyone in these cars. So we keep an eye on Graham as he runs a comfortable third, and we look back at Jason Lowe, who is your defending champion. He's had quite an interesting season thus far. So we're on lap 66 here. It's been a season of ups and downs, and when Jason Lowe has been on the top of his game, as we see David Strid hitting the pits. So if this was this possibly was an early pit stop for Strid, not getting the type of fuel mileage of everyone else, so Strid now having to make that very costly green flag stop, and that finally gives the lead over to Inigo Mardones. So the picture of this one already beginning to change, and this is what we were expecting to see at the end of that first stint if the caution for Danny Alt had not come out. This was about what we were looking to see, is when would David Strid have to pop in, and who would be the next one onto pit lane? Will it be Mardones, who came through the field on this last stint, has now taken over the lead and is undoubtedly burning more fuel than Graham Bunyan and the rest? Or will it be Jason Lowe or another? Did anybody short fill the last stop? We don't know. They don't tell us. We don't get that information. So, Strid, we'll put the track map up on the screen. In the meantime, why don't we take a look at the gap also? That'll help you to keep track of where the drivers are. There we go. So you see David Strid lapping behind there, actually over a lap down. So that's about a lap, coming up on a lap and a half down. Now the problem for Strid is by pitting by himself, he loses this draft. And so, for example, last time by, we'll see what the difference in times are, if there is much difference in times. Now, of course, Strid, having fresh tires, will be able to lap by himself at speed for a few laps, definitely faster. But as the tires start to fall off, if he doesn't gain a drafting partner, this could start to fall apart for David Strid, as he won't be able to pull in the field, and he won't be able to keep up with their pace. So this last time, Strid actually faster than the rest of the field, a 25.02, and the leader doing, actually now going much faster, excuse me, looking at the wrong column there. Yeah, so 25.07 he was this last time by. Inigo Mardones, his last lap, a 25.28. Now, when these drivers have fresh tires and are all in the pack together, they can do about 24.5-second laps. So we'll just see how this kind of shakes out here and see whether Strid can manage to claw back any time or not. Right now, Strid shown 33 seconds back, and that is probably not enough time to retake the lead, though Strid continues to lap faster than the rest of the field. So Strid at 25:13, Inigo Mardones at 25:36. So, I mean, I'm just being honest. I don't know how exactly this is going to work out. We don't know the exact laps that the crossover in terms of laps and tire wear and speed happen. So you see everybody else except for David Strid, MPC Van Tongeren, and Danny Alt, every single other driver still out there on the track lapping, and all in that pack. You see Richard Kelbaugh, Mr. StickQuik, getting a little locked up there, but it looks like got it onto pit road okay. Shouldn't suffer a penalty. So we'll see where Kelbaugh comes back out in relation to David Strid and the rest of the pack. I imagine Kelbaugh will be significantly behind Strid, and the real reason why is because of the amount of time that Strid was able to make up there with his quick laps. So this last time by Strid at 25:18 and Inigo Mardones at 25:27, none of the front runners able to match that 25:18, and a 25:20 that time by. So he's able to get hundredths and hundredths, as we see Inigo Mardones having a problem entering the pits. Oh, what a catastrophe. It just pulled down and was trying to enter the pits and now has to pull it back around. Oh, what a terrible catastrophe coming in from the lead. My goodness, what a tragedy. Let's go back and watch this from Mardones' point of view. He's pitting off of turn 4. And just too much speed. It gets upset by the apron as he enters, and it just a slow looper has to get it wound up, get it all turned around. My goodness. Well, that will definitely cause a massive issue in terms of time for Mardones, and that may actually end up costing him a full lap. So you see Bunyan going by and actually lapping him there on the replay. So this gives over the lead for the first time to Graham Bunyan, who I'm sure will be delighted to know that Inigo Mardones possibly will not be challenging him for the lead, because Mardones is definitely one of those drivers fast enough to get up there and challenge. But Bunyan leads low. Livingston and Kingsbury and Manuel Gomez Esteban here in Las Vegas at 81 laps in. So some major shakeup happening here as David Strid continues to lap fast. 25:20 last time to the leader Jason Lowe's 25:53. To me, it looks like David Strid is the man on the move, gaining very quickly. Only down 31 seconds now to Dan Ench, 33 seconds overall, and we're just going to keep watching that gap as we see, I believe, Gomez Esteban now into the pit lane. Or no, exiting the pits, excuse me, having taken service. And Graham Bunyan now pitting from the lead. Jeff Murray also in the pits. Okay, so Gomez Esteban actually, it looked to me like dropped down significantly earlier than Inigo Mardones. That's why I thought he was actually exiting the pits, but he wasn't. He was actually just entering the pits, was because he entered quite early. So dropping down onto the apron. It's not a requirement to enter from the backstretch. And there you see Bunyan leaving the pits. And there, David Strid has gone by on track. David Strid taking over the virtual lead of the race as we watch here on VirtualRacing.Network. A heck of an undercut strategy by Strid. I don't know if that means Strid can make it to the end, but Strid right now has gained 6, coming up on 7 seconds on Graham Bunyan. That may be enough as he overtakes Matt Kingsbury. Jason Lowe, Howard Livingston, and Dan Ench all in the pits now. But this man, David Strid, is about to unlap himself over those others in the pits and take over the lead of this race by well over 4.5 seconds right now over Matt Kingsbury. Jason Lowe returns to the track. And Kingsbury, now taking over second in the race, sets his eyes on David Strid, who had just an amazing sequence of pit stops occur to the point where he was able to undercut the competition. Now, Strid came in on lap, let's see here, let me look at my notes. Last lap, or pitted on 66. So Kingsbury in on 87, or on 83, so he can make it to the end. David Strid cannot make it to the end. There's just no way. Even with caution flags, he would need constant caution to be able to pull this one out. So as great of a move as this one was for David Strid, it has actually really caught him out. And you know who else has been caught out? It's Graham Bunyan. Graham dropping back to 7th place after that round of pit stops. We were so enamored that we don't know what happened to Graham Bunyan. We were so enamored with watching, and of course there's no notes. It doesn't say that he's crashed or anything like that. You don't want to go back and bore you by watching it all on screen, but something has gone wrong for the Graham Bunyan machine, and currently sits 8 seconds back of David Strid, but just under 2 seconds back from Matt Kingsbury. So I don't, as I mentioned before, unless there is a yellow flag, in which case I have no idea how many drivers are going to actually pit to take fresh tires and give up that track position. It does appear as though, and we see on screen, Matt Kingsbury now around the outside. I'm sorry, Jason Lowe around the outside of Matt Kingsbury. I had it backwards there. And Howard Livingston the same. These drivers stopping just a lap later than Kingsbury, so able to find the speed, find the draft, catch Kingsbury, and then make the move around the outside. We'll go back and take a look at that and how it took place. This looks like headed down into turn 4. So coming out of 3 and 4, no, I'm sorry, that was headed down into turn 1. Lowe gets it done. We'll go back to the live picture. Still Jason Lowe in second place in command, because David Strid at the moment, who leads it, is last lap 50 or 25-24. Jason Lowe's 25-29. So if those drivers from behind can actually work together, very likely can catch David Strid. However, as I mentioned, that is not even a factor, because Strid, even if he can run fast laps off of everyone else, we're seeing a note here, Mardones having another incident. He was racing with Rick Levison. What's happened here? Mardones just losing it on the track, almost exactly the same place, and this has caused the caution. This is exactly, I think, what David Strid would want to see. He won't go down that lap due to a green flag stop, and instead will get a chance to get fresh tires and fuel. Rejoin this track as one of the only drivers to do so. So this is really going to break it up. We'll try to watch and see what other drivers do on the track. And see who's going to pit and who won't. Of course, these drivers... Now, we've got to... What's happened with Rick Levison? Did this happen just afterwards? Rick Levison slowing and slowing and slowing, and then into the wall. Didn't unfortunately didn't see the green or the car stacking up for the yellow flag. He crashes under caution. Not a big deal, actually, though. He won't lose a lap. Assuming he can get in and out of the pits quick enough, will not lose a lap to get that front wing. We'll keep an eye on Rick, the Berkshire Resorts on the side pod, and we see David Strid into the pits, as we mentioned. Graham Bunyan pitting for fresh tires, a smart move, undoubtedly. Dan Ench also in for tires. Rick Levison getting that damage fixed, and Jeff Murray as well. Go back to the live picture. See Jason Lowe up in the lead. Now, we didn't get too much chance to look at this before, so I just want to take a chance here to talk about the Lionheart himself, who lost his life in 2011 after winning the Indy 500, coming to Las Vegas Motor Speedway in a pack racing race just like this, and in IndyCar. Terrible accident, and he was taken from us much too quickly. You see the plaque there on screen that's posted permanently in St. Petersburg, and talks about his amazing accomplishments. Dan Weldon was just a young man who accomplished a lot in a very short period of time, and many, many more years potentially of victories and championships ahead of him. So we had a moment of silence earlier, and appreciate the memories that we still have of Dan Weldon here in the IndyCar series. And of course the DW12, which is this car that we're racing now, even though it's in its current iteration, the IR18, DW12, of course, named after Dan Weldon. And so every time we do a race, we try to think of Dan a little bit. Truly amazing driver who's meant a lot to a lot of people. But back to the race here, safety car, and hope it didn't hope it's not freezing up for you there on the screen. It's my slow hard drives. We're trying to get some new upgraded hard drives into the system. The slow hard drives take a second to boot up, but there you go. After 9 races, it's Graham Bunyan, your leader, and it's not hard to see in the points because he's got 7 poles and 7 wins, and 7 is lucky 7s for Graham Bunyan. So we'll see if he can make it 8 in a row today. That would be pretty miraculous. A lot of other drivers seem to be after it, but Jason Lowe with a great finish, and Dan Ench with not such a great finish last week. Lowe up ahead of Ench, and that's a tight battle there for second, so we keep watching that. Mike West staying in 4th, Howard Livingston up a spot in 5th, and James Kennedy losing a spot. David Zalesky is not with us this week. That's a shame, because once again, you know, it's another great oval that I think Zalesky could do well at. It's a bummer to lose him for this week, but he did gain 2 spots by popping back in last week. So lights are off on the safety car, and we get set to roll here again for our second caution of the day. We won't go down and visit with Matt Kingsbury this time, but we will let him get ready to go. Talk to him next time. So we're under caution here on lap 97 of 126. And you're watching VirtualRacing.Network. My name is Trevor Greenfield, and that's right. Now I've got, we can see that Will Stearns has popped by in the chat room in YouTube. Appreciate that, letting us know at one point you could hit those cones and it wouldn't do anything. And that's true. Nowadays, you hit one of those cones, it does damage sometimes, if you feel it. Green. Jason Lowe leads us back to the green flag. Will it be Jason Lowe's day in the spotlight? We'll find out, as it's been a little while since Jason Lowe has brought it home in victory circle. Starting in second on this restart, Howard Livingston, as Livingston under immediate attack by Kingsbury. And Kingsbury very tight on the outside there with Livingston. And I think Livingston might have pushed up just a tiny bit. We'll go back and take a look at that on the screen. Kingsbury to the outside, and you know, I gotta say, from my vantage, it looked like Matt just didn't give quite enough room on the outside for Kingsbury, or for Livingston. We'll look at it from Livingston's point of view. So here's Livingston getting past just moments ago into turn 3. And yeah, I think Matt just thought he was clear maybe, or maybe he had just too much of a run. We'll have to talk to him here in just a moment as we're under yellow for the 3rd time today. And once again, some of these drivers are already filled up or all of these drivers are filled up, and they're all filled up with, trying to avoid saying they're full of gas, but they're full of gas, and or whatever we're burning now, some sort of ethanol, methanol mixture. Sunoco, yeah, is that? No, we're not Sunoco anymore. I can't keep track of who it is on the side of the car. We don't have an official fuel sponsor anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But the real life Indy cars do. Oh, it's Speedway. That's right. I forgot. So, yeah, all these drivers being full, they're going to be burning off some extra fuel, which you can do. And they might pit for tires. We see Rick Kelbaugh coming in. Now, let's just come back out. And Matt Kingsbury sitting on pit road. Unfortunately, looks like his day is done. See if we can talk to him over in... Actually, we'll talk to him here in a minute. In the meantime, we have a perfect opportunity to talk about StickQuik. You know, StickQuik is this is the StickQuik 190, the US IndyCar League StickQuik 190 here at Las Vegas. And StickQuik is the official partner of the US IndyCar League, and it's such an awesome thing to have that partnership, because what a cool, I want to call it a device, an invention. You know, it's that thing that you need for your house, for your garage. It's one of those things you didn't think you need until you have it. But once you have it, you can't do without it. And so you're going to find 100 different ways to stick these things on anything. And here's the coolest part. These different sizes, you can actually put different sized handles and tools and things into these different StickQuik pieces. Grabbers, silicones, and it can be anything. It could be a razor in your bathroom. It could be a pen that you want to keep up next to your whiteboard, or something you want to keep on your refrigerator. You know, I'm sure your mind is already running with it. We've been talking about it all season. I've got a few set up around my house, and I'm going to try to get pictures before the end of the season so you can see it really in my world and see how I'm using it. But StickQuik is so cool. Go to stickquick.com. and you'll see the packages available there. They're really not very expensive. They make great gifts. Coming up to Christmas time, buy a couple for your friends, especially if they're motorsports nuts. I mean, you could easily fill up all 6 of these in your garage by just putting tools in them that are handy. So if you want to have that adjustable spanner ready to go at any moment, and then you just put one of these on it, stick it on your toolbox, and you grab that thing immediately. One of the other cool things is that the StickQuik, it comes with the stickums that you can put onto anything so that it works magnetically, but you don't need that because the piece itself is magnetic. So if you have anything that's metal, like your toolbox or a set of shelves, like I've got some wire shelves that are metal, anything that's metal in your world, your sim rig or anything else, you can stick things to it. So it's just, it's like I said, it's just one of those things that makes your mind run. So that's enough promo for StickQuik this time, but I just love it. Can't talk enough about it. Meanwhile, lights have gone off on the pace car, and we're getting set to go. We'll get a chance to talk with Matt here in just a second. See if I can get Matt here in the booth. Hey, Matt, you finally rejoined your place here at the VirtualRacing.Network broadcast booth. You all set to go?
Yeah, all set.
All right, man. What happened there? You were looking so good. You're making that aggressive move for second and looked like maybe you got a little too close to Howard, or did he drift up? How did it look to you?
Yeah, Howard made a move up to get a better turn in, and I didn't really see that part until it was a little late. I was coming down so we just kind of made contact. I don't think it's really anyone's fault, just product of both of us moving in the same direction, really, and small movements. So it just is what it is.
All right, well, file it under the racing incidents category. It was great to see. Okay, sounds like we had a little glitch there. Hopefully it didn't glitch out for anybody else. Sometimes the internet not wanting to participate. We are green here. Again, Jason Lowe, 23 laps to go with Howard Livingston in tow and Mike West. David Strid just behind. It's a four-way battle for the front. We've got Matt Kingsbury in the booth now to join us. We appreciate that. Had a few thrills with Matt out there on the track. Thought he might be vying for a potential podium finish here. But, Matt, what do you think now that you popped out of the car? What are these guys going to do? We got 4 cars all on a pack battling for first. How do you play this one out?
If you want to win it, you got to start making your moves, because if you don't, you're not going to have a chance at it. So you got to be second place or third to win it. But it's really hard to pass the leader, if or someone that has a tow. Just you got to build your run up, and it's really hard. The gear is a little long, so it's the leader's in a great spot to win it unless they make a mistake.
Unless they make a mistake, and it's been known to happen occasionally. Nobody's perfect, and it's hard at over 200 miles an hour to keep these things from bouncing off the walls. Jason Lowe in the lead, but Howard Livingston running a tight second place. I know Livingston loves this track, would love to get that second step on the podium, possibly top step on the podium. Howard's going to have his hands full here in just a second. We got Mike West coming up. He's a winner in the league already. Got Graham Bunyan, his teammate, just behind, who's made his arrival on the scene after suffering an issue. We didn't see it on screen exactly what happened, but suffered an issue in the previous stint. All that wiped out with the last caution. Now you've also got David Strid and Dan Ench battling there. So as you said, it's a shootout to the end. There's no sense saving any fuel, Matt. You just go for it here in Vegas. It's all betted on red or betted on black. What are you betting on today?
There's going to be a wreck, because car does lose its stability after a long run. I was getting loose in the tri-oval. So I have a feeling with how hard they're going to be pushing now, we might see someone get squirrely all by themselves and just cause the pile up. But the other thing I'm watching is Howard is leaving quite the gap on the bottom around the track, and I know Mike's looking to possibly exploit that right now. So let's see if Mike can get that move done if Howard leaves the space.
Well, he's also got Bunyan on the outside. So we cut to the wrong camera there. It looks like West and Bunyan sort of forming a what do you call it? A blockade, so that no one can get through. Teammates kind of sucking up the inside and the outside of the track. You think this is a strategy amongst the teammates? Just kind of block the track, don't let anybody through?
Maybe. I think Graham's just trying to get around people at this point. But contact between Mike West, and he's around.
And there Mike is around. We're on board live. Another driver involved as well. It's Dan Ench. Oh no. I did not see. Did you catch what happened?
Yeah, Mike West got a little tight and washed up into David Strid, but David was able to hold it. Unfortunately, Mike got loose, and him and Dan got both loose, and they wrecked.
So there's West at the center of the picture. We'll watch for a second. And there you can see, it looked like Ench just tried to save it, but there was nowhere to go. And so these drivers will have to circulate, get that damage fixed. And not looking too great. So, well, that was a quick one. And it didn't cause a caution. And unfortunately, that will take out Dan Ench and as well as Mike West from the potential win today, barring a bizarre miracle. So 14 laps to go here for Jason Lowe. And for those of you who have been watching the US IndyCar League all season, this is a very familiar picture. It's Graham Bunyan on the outside of Jason Lowe, duking it out for the championship, but more appropriately duking it out for the race win. And we'll see who has the car here at the end. Looks like they're coming across more smoke that's just sitting there. I don't know if somebody else had another issue. I think it's tough to tell. It's possible Mike West had another issue, but I don't know if he's come out of the pits yet. So maybe that smoke just hanging there. Either way, on track, we got 2 wide, 2 rows deep for the win. It's Lowe and Bunyan battling with Livingston and Strid just behind. And now Strid and just trying that outside. Matt, is there any way to get it done on the outside?
It's very, very difficult. I think the only way to beat someone is to get them at the line, really. You're not going to be able to hold the position going to the outside. You just don't carry enough of a run to get it cleared on.
Well, we'll see if anyone can. Oh, and Jason Lowe spins from the lead. How unfortunate is that? Lowe now sitting on the track, has to spin it around. That gives over the lead to Howard Livingston. Unbelievable turn of events.
That was a weird one.
That was a very weird one, and it didn't happen at the same place that it happened to Mike West earlier and Inigo Mardones. It happened slightly before that. Let's go back and see if we can we tell where that happened.
It's at turn 4. He just where the pit lane starts. He lost track of like the apron. It looks like.
Yeah.
Just put 2 wheels on it and spun it. It can be a little hard to tell where that apron is. So.
You bet. And it's like a vacuum. If you touch that apron too much with your left side tire, it will just suck you straight down there and you'll lose control. There's no way to keep it. So this changes the order again. Your season, your defending champion Jason Lowe still shown on the lead lap, but probably just barely. And Livingston and Bunyan now vying for the lead.
Yeah, I think Graham's got to try to eye up a slingshot here and get as much of a run as possible, because if he doesn't do that, there's no way to clear him, and I think he needs to try that before Manuel Gomez-Esteban gets up here with Levison.
Well, you're absolutely right, and what's amazing is how this is shaken out with no cautions for these latest incidents. 7 laps to go, and you've got Manuel Gomez-Esteban on your 3rd step of the podium. This is... David Strid has crashed. There's David Strid.
Real quick.
David Strid in the wall. What is happening? So many things shaking out. There's David Strid just getting up in the wall.
He got loose, it looks like. And then tight maybe, or it's really weird. Really weird. It looks like his steering just cuts out.
Oh, it really does. Yeah, I would say it does look like his steering cut out. So that's unfortunate for him. Running so well all race long. One of our absolute leaders. And, wow, just amazing. So unfortunate. Dropping out of... Was on pole position and was a factor all race. On an alternate strategy at one point. Looked like he might have been the winner, but now Strid drops back and Bunyan pokes his nose up there. He got, for just a moment, he was shown in the lead, but it's not enough. He tries to hang on the outside and force Livingston possibly into a compromised situation on the inside.
I think Howard seems to be running his car really tight. I feel like if Graham's looking for that inside. I feel like if Graham could set the crossover, move upright, pinch Howard down enough, maybe get them done. But we saw how risky that could be earlier.
Indeed, Matt, you get one shot at it, and that shot might be for the win, or you might get it wrong and it might put you in the wall or into another car, as we see Bunyan trying again. I don't think he can get enough of a slingshot to put him up there in the front. It kind of needs to sit back a little bit and just time it perfectly for the corner.
I think that's what he's going to do here. He's done it down the back a few times. I think he's going to... Oh, he can't wait because Manuel Esteban is arriving.
It's the white flag, and Howard Livingston leads us down the backstretch with Graham Bunyan on the outside and Manuel Esteban just behind. Will we see a new winner? Howard Livingston looking to do so. It's Livingston on the inside. Bunyan can't do it. It's Livingston across the finish line first, with Bunyan second and Esteban third. Unbelievable stuff. Matt, what a finish.
Yeah, good finish, and good driving there. He made sure to make the car wide enough that Graham couldn't get below him. And, he made sure to use as much of the track as possible so he wouldn't lose his mind. So that was just good, smart driving.
Well, what a heck of a finish. I agree. Smart driving. He held down to the line. He didn't try and do anything crazy. Didn't adjust his strategy at all in terms of running inside or outside. Just stuck right with the inside line, which is that proven strategy. And Livingston now pulling it up to start-finish line. We're going to see any donuts? That's a question. I think he's just kind of waiting for everybody to finish circulating. But wow, what an incredible finish. Matt, that was not how we expected that one to go at all. We thought it was going to either be Bunyan or yourself or possibly Strid for the longest time. And, of course, all of you guys suffering, including Jason Lowe suffering. And Livingston, who ahead of time it was said it was his favorite track or one of his favorite tracks, and he might do well here. Livingston pulling out the strategy, getting himself in position with the caution flags, and managing to hold on to that inside position. What an amazing finish for him. So we'll take a look at the final finishing order here, and it was Howard Livingston in first, with Graham Bunyan a very close second on the outside, but not able to get that outside pass done. Manuel Esteban in third place with a podium, his first podium of the season. Rick Levison there right in fourth. I'm sure Levison would be so happy to have that finish. It's definitely a top finish for him thus far in the series this season. So Richard Kelbaugh, Mr. StickQuik, bringing it home in fifth. Jason Lowe ends up in sixth after a spin there. We could see the donuts on display here. Livingston in the Care Camps machine celebrating his victory in Las Vegas, and we'll get a chance to talk to him here in a minute. Finish talking about the finishing order. It's Mike West who had another issue, and I'm sorry, just ahead of him, Jeff Murray. Kind of a quiet seventh place finish. I saw that he did have an incident a little bit later on. We didn't get a chance to see that, but Murray 2 laps off there at the end. And as I said, West finishing eighth. David Strid, your pole sitter, suffering another issue today, dropping back there at the very, very end. He looked so solid all race long and having that issue, unfortunately finishing ninth, and Ench in 10th. Ench getting caught up in the Mike West incident. That was unfortunate. Kingsbury, we'll be polite to every party involved and just say that was a racing incident, and it was just very close. But Matt, our embedded reporter, getting up there in the mix, possibly having a chance at the win, and that was a lot of fun to cover. Inigo Mardones was also up there. He was a leader at one point, unfortunately spinning it just as he was coming onto pit lane. That caused a big problem. MPC Van Tongeren, great to have you join us. Would love to see you get more laps in next time. Hopefully that works out. Danny Alt, also great to have you join us. Look forward to seeing you next time. And in the meantime, take a look over into the broadcast booth. We're going to get a chance to talk with the driver that was in the lead for quite a while and then ended up having an issue. Jason Lowe, if you're rattling around and you're done drinking your Gatorade, have you had a chance to think about it? What took place there? How did you spin out, man? What happened?
I think the technical term is I ran out of talent. Graham was holding me down, which was exactly what he needed to do, and I made a mistake. That was just a flat out mistake on my part, and nothing nefarious. I caught the white line a little bit too much with the left front. It went around on me. So if you're going to lose the lead, lose it in spectacular fashion, I guess. At least I didn't take anybody with me. And I told you guys last week that Howard Livingston was good at Vegas. Mark my words, I told you he was good.
Well, we'll ask you for race predictions each and every week then, and you could just tell us who's going to win. We'll save everybody the time and trouble. No, that is amazing. We were commenting on that all race. I think both you and Dan mentioned that last week, that Howard knew this track fairly well. And of course, we did pay tribute to Dan Weldon earlier, but oh, what could have been, Jason? You're fighting it out for second in the championship, and this will probably give Dan Ench, well, actually, Dan finished behind you, so that's good for you. You'll probably keep your gap over him, but a close one, and I'm sure that's not how you wanted today to finish up.
Oh, absolutely not, but still, I had fun. I can laugh at myself, and that was just an error on my part. Maybe I'll learn not to do that again, but congratulations to Howard, congratulations to Graham, congratulations to the whole podium, and thanks StickQuik. And now I'll let you talk to the guys that matter. But thanks for everything you do, and sure to have a good time today with the league. Thanks, guys.
Absolutely, Jason Lowe joining us once again. Sometimes it's from the podium, and sometimes it's from a place like this where he was up at the front, and unfortunately, he's just human, and we're all just human. And as I mentioned, just one little mistake can take you right out of the lead and make you sixth place at the end of it. So that is true. We do have others to talk to here. We will not get a chance, I don't think, to talk to Manuel Gomez Esteban unless he joins us in the booth soon, which hopefully he does. Nevertheless, we will get a chance to talk to our second place finisher. And when I say that, I'm not making a mistake. Second place, Graham Bunyan. Not first place, second place, Graham Bunyan. But Graham, I'll tell you what, second place is not very far off of first, and it looked like you gave it a heck of a shot. You didn't get the pole, but you ended up second. Nobody's going to get any points on you. You're still the champion. Congratulations on your second place.
Nah, thank you. Yeah, look, great race. Just hard to make that outside line work. It just bogged down. It didn't matter what you did, but I was definitely going to make him work for the win. That's for sure. I wasn't going to let him have it.
Yeah, you didn't let him have it, and I noticed that everybody was trying to was not making it easy on anyone else. Inigo Mardones coming through, taking the lead. David Strid, a number of drivers really battling hard. If we take a look back, there was a moment where you were having to get by on this last. After this last caution and this last stint, you're having to get by Mike West, and it looked like you and he were forming a blockade on the track with nobody able to get through. Was that a little bit of teammate strategy, or were you finally able to clear him and try to make your way to the front?
No, it was just a matter of just trying to get by him. Like, I mean, he had his own race to do as well, and like I say, you just couldn't make that outside line work. And at the end there, to try and get Howard, I needed to hang back a lot further, and with Manuel there, I really couldn't hang back as far as I wanted to try and get that run into 3 to chop down in front of Howard. But yeah, no, it was hard, tough.
Well, finally somebody found a way to get up and around you. This time it was kind of through strategy, but still Howard finding a way to get around you and managing to be able to hold it down there on that white line. So tricky to get around that, to get around somebody who's stuck to that white line and knows how to keep it there. But nevertheless, Graham, as I mentioned before, I mean, you could just kind of mentally write this one off because you're already the season 11 champion, and this would have just been another placard to put up on the wall for you. So any thoughts as we go forward next couple of races? You got any ideas of what you want to do, or any tracks that are standing out to you?
No, not really. Just survive and yeah, hopefully come back with a straight car and make the boys work for it. It's good. And like I said, that was really good.
It was good. Maybe we just need more of these draft lock races like this. We will have at least one more. Well, actually, both of them. It depends on whether you can or anyone else can somehow manage to pull a gap at Michigan, but most likely that'll be a draft battle. just like this, as well as Chicagoland. I did a race earlier this season with the Elite League, and that was as draft lock as it gets. There's no way to run off the front. So, hey, anybody could have a chance at you this next couple of races. So we'll be looking forward to seeing you back up there on the podium, though, I'm sure, and talking to you after the next race. So congratulations, season 11 champion Graham Bunyan, and good luck for the rest of the races this season.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you. And yeah, it's been good. Like I said, you just couldn't do much today. Plenty of power in the car, just not enough aero, I suppose.
Not enough aero. Well, you can't make any of those changes, of course. It's a fixed setup. So, ahead of time, one of the drivers was complaining about too much aero, thinking it wasn't fast enough and couldn't get some separation from other drivers. Another driver saying not enough aero. Graham Bunyan, not first place and in second, but he still wants something to get that first place. Pleasure always talking with Graham, and he'll probably go on and do another race in the Indy Fix Series tonight. Right now it's like 2 o'clock or something like that in the morning. He'll probably be going over to Indy Fixed and blowing all those people's doors off. Nevertheless, we have Howard Livingston also in the booth with us, and this is so cool because Howard racing for Care Camps. Of course, we did the Care Camps race at Indy earlier this year, but Howard has only poked up onto the podium a couple of times. I know he wants to be up there in the front, get that Care Camps name. Howard, welcome to the broadcast booth and welcome to Victory Circle, your first win this season. How does it feel to be the winner here in Las Vegas?
Oh, it's just incredible. I mean, especially with all these talented drivers to wind up in front here is absolutely it's wonderful. I feel very blessed. Do want to apologize. Matt and I got into each other. I haven't been able to look at the replay yet, but I apologize to him because it looked like it took him out, and I apologize for that. But I'll relook at that.
Yeah, and of course, Matt being our our embedded reporter in the field racing with you guys this week. We got a chance to talk with them, and Matt, you're here in the booth, right?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, so that was just kind of a racing incident. Matt felt like from his side, he didn't see that you had moved up a little bit for a better turn in. And I think from your side, you just weren't aware that he was already starting to come down, possibly to make the pass into the corner. But either way, that was a little close. But you didn't, Howard, you didn't suffer any damage. You didn't have to take any repair because of that?
No, I didn't. In fact, I'm not sure that I got a 4X on it either. I didn't. To be honest, this track is so fast, and you can't take your eyes off of it for a second. I really I'm not sure. But Matt, I apologize, buddy, if I was the cause of that.
Yeah, it's all good. Like I said, I think it was I came down up a little. It is what it is. It's not it's really not anyone. It's one of those ones where we're both in each other's blind spot, so it's really hard to judge.
And that's absolutely true. And that's just the sort of thing. You guys are you're battling so close. I mean, literally inches apart at over 200 miles an hour. And I talk about it all the time because this series is usually so clean with like 0 cautions, maybe 1 or 2 cautions, possibly. But everybody is always so clean in this. And yet it looks like it makes it look like everybody's just out for a Sunday drive and it's nice and easy. But the reality is, if you miscalculate just a little bit, even if it's unintentional or anything like that, and you just get it a little bit wrong, or another driver at the same time moves up, you move down, boom, you've got racing incident, 1 driver's out of the race. So Howard, for you to keep it clean all race long, it kind of looked like a Graham Bunyan sort of deal out there. And besides that incident with Matt, not making any contact, keeping it clean, and doing whatever you needed to do as far as the strategy. Were you deep into the fuel save strategy early on? Did you think this was going to be a fuel strategy race the whole way through? And were you relieved at the end that it became a shootout? How was it from your standpoint, Howard?
Yeah, my strategy was fuel savings. So I, the first stint, I was able to get actually really, really good mileage out of the car. So that worked out well. And then we had that caution in the second stint, which kind of threw it out the window. But still, I was still trying to save because if we didn't have that last caution, I was going to be really tight. But that gave me enough to then punch it at the end.
Well, at the end there was when all the marbles were on the line. You're in Vegas. You threw it all on red, and you came up victorious. And you just kind of held it pinched down to the inside. That was the recipe that it needed. Graham tried to get some runs on the outside, but just couldn't quite get there. So it must feel pretty awesome with the way that things kind of broke apart there at the end to, in fact, take victory over Graham Bunyan. You stop his streak. We didn't think, I thought it might be Matt Kingsbury, could have been David Strid, could have been Jason Lowe, even Inigo Mardona's up there in the lead, but it turns out to be Howard Livingston who stops the streak of Graham Bunyan, the reign of winning terror from Australia. And Howard, you've done it for care camps, and I think that's really special. Can you want to talk for just a second about care camps and what they do?
Oh, sure thing. They're such an incredible organization. They basically send children with cancer to specialized summer camps, and and kids with cancer, they don't get to live a normal life like a normal kid. So this lets them do that. The parents can't come, the kids go. Their brothers and sisters get to go though, and they're in kind of a separate part of the camp. And it's just it's a very healing thing for these kids, and it's just heartwarming. So very, very, very proud to have that paint on this car.
Well, a victory, care camps is always a victory with what they do for kids and their families suffering at the moment with cancer. But you managed to pull out your own victory for the kids and for care camps. And of course, we do want to drive people to the care camps website and be able to make donations straight to care camps. So you'll see we'll put it also down in the description later on so that people can pull it up. But carecamps.org, and you can go there and make your donations. And in the meantime, Howard, you've just done it. You've finally gotten that win that you were craving. And congratulations. I know you've got a lot of people to say thank you to, but also a lot of people to let them know the good news. People have been supporting you, like the Coconut Castaways, etc. Try to get you a good finishing victory photo for you there. Any thoughts on the remaining races? We got, of course, Michigan coming up, and then also Chicagoland, both drafting races. You looking forward to those?
Yeah, I am, and unfortunately, I'm just so bummed. I'm going to miss next week's race because of some family, wonderful family things that we're doing. So I'm going to miss Michigan, but looking forward to the week after that. Well, and a big shout out to StickQuik too for being our sponsor. They're wonderful, wonderful folks.
Absolutely, always so thankful to have StickQuik on board. And of course, now that you've got to go do those family things, or you're going to be going to do those family things, you've got some cool stories to tell. That's for sure over those family events. But I wish you luck in those, and obviously we'll look forward to seeing you back out there on the track. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, Howard Livingston, your winner here in Las Vegas. The StickQuik 190, and of course a tribute to Dan Weldon as well. Pleasure to have you with us, Howard. Congratulations and good luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you so much, and thank you for doing such an incredible job on the broadcast. You guys are just amazing.
Well, thank you for saying that. You guys are amazing out there on the track. What you did today was amazing too. So good luck, and we'll see if we can see some more amazing action. This one was an awesome one today. I really enjoyed it. Matt, what did you think of today's race from the inside and the outside?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was fun out there. I wish I would have liked to have been able to see it spread out. I think like I said, the setup was a little hard to handle actually on the old tires. I was starting to get pretty loose. So I would have loved it going green flag, but either way, it's still a great race. It was a lot of fun. Definitely was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed it.
Well, that is awesome to hear. And will Matt be on track, or will he be in the booth next time out? Stay tuned. We'll find out. In the meantime, it did not require Matt Kingsbury to make the challenge to Graham Bunyan to stop the slide or to stop the streak. It was Howard Livingston who was able to do it in the Care Camps machine. And Graham Bunyan finishing in second. Manuel Gomez Esteban, the fantastic finish in third. We can get a chance to talk to him this time, but hopefully in the future. And so, well, Matt, for yourself and for myself and everybody here, VirtualRacing.Network, as well as the competitors in the US IndyCar League. This has been the StickQuik 190 presented by StickQuik at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, round 10 of 12. Been watching on VirtualRacing.Network, and so long from Las Vegas, the virtual Las Vegas. It's been an absolute pleasure. We'll look forward to seeing you next time. And so for everyone, bye-bye for now.